Hello there and welcome back to another review. So I had to get round to it eventually. It was one of these movies that I had to give my review on. It had to come where this is sort of a Hong Kong kung fu movie review channel sometimes. I had to get round to reviewing this one. I mean, where does one begin with what is regarded and meant to be one of the greatest kung fu movies of all time, and that is the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, if I can say it right. Now I'm going to be reviewing this from this Shaw Brothers Volume 2 box set from Arrow. Like with the previous box set, I will be trying to get through all the movies for you all. Amazing box set, pick it up if you're a kung fu fan. Some classics in there: Mad Monkey Kung Fu, there's loads, Barefooted Kid, Martial Arts of Shaolin, loads of 5 Super Fighters, loads of Invincible Shaolin, loads of them. So many classic kung fu movies. But 36 Chambers of Shaolin, it's definitely. I mean, when you talk about classic kung fu movies, I think this one is often deemed one of the best, if not the best. I think you can probably argue this along with maybe Enter the Dragon, for if nothing else, for being one of the most popular and widely seen. Directed, of course, by Kar-leung and starring Gordon Liu and Lieh, made in 1978. In many ways, I would always look at this as not just a great kung fu movie, but above all else, a great kung fu training movie. It's not a kung fu movie where there's fight, anything like that. This is there are kung fu movies where the focus is just solely on training or learning, or like a temple movie. And that's what this is. And it's, as I say, it's a training. We have the Shaolin Temple backdrop here. Gordon Liu as Monk Sandy, who invents these three section staff. Santee, sorry. But the film is almost epic in its nature and its execution. I mean, many could argue Kar-leung and Gordon Liu, his adopted brother, made better movies, but I don't think any of them are as well known as what 36 Chamber is. I think, but it's so well regarded. Above all else, more, I don't think any of the other movies are sort of as inspiring as what the 36 Chambers was. I mean, with this review, of course, there's a lot to get through here, so I will say in this review is probably nothing that hasn't been said already. But if you are new to the world of kung fu movies, if you're just starting out, you don't know what film to watch next, maybe you've done Drunken Master, you're not sure what else to go to. In many ways, this film is the perfect starting point. 36th Chamber, I think this is the place where if you said, right, what is 20 kung fu films you must see, 36 Chamber is one that you definitely should check out. It really, it's a perfect start. I mean, the movie clocks in at just around 2 hours. It's a movie that has sort of an epicness to it. We have our journey, our character, Lieh becomes the monk Santee, and really goes on a great journey in this movie. Like I mentioned, don't expect fight. It's not that kind of movie. This isn't what the film is about. It's a training movie, and I love a kung fu training movie, and you will get no better example than the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. I think without probably even necessarily trying too hard, Kar-leung inadvertently created the perfect kung fu movie. Like, he really, don't get me wrong, he's done some amazing films. I've got many of his favourites that are some of my top kung fu movies of all time. But for the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, I think because of its iconic status, because of its cult status, and how sort of, I don't think they was necessarily right, let's make a classic or anything like that when they went into production, but it's just amazing how well this film does work. And as I say, it really is the perfect kung fu movie. Yes, we had sequels, which of course I will review, which are also on this box set. I think actually the order they are in, the order they're actually in, I think actually is the way from... Not to say the third one's bad, but in terms of which one is best and which one is like sort of least best, I think they go in order. Like, 1 is amazing, 2 is still good but not as good, and 3 is still good but not as good as the second one, kind of thing. So it's just one of their movies, like with Drunken Master, like with Enter the Dragon, like with Fist of Fury, like with Master of the Flying Guillotine, that you just have to see. It's a kung fu movie that you have to check out. I probably could end just the review there without going any further into it. I mean, enough has been said about the movie over the years, so I'll just shut up now and get into a little brief review, plot synopsis, that kind of thing, like I usually do. Probably won't keep you too long today, because as I say, you've probably, if you like some of my other videos and what's on the the channel, you've probably seen 36 Chamber of Shaolin. So the film opens with our man Gordon Liu showing off his ring work with metal rings around his wrist cutting through water. Also get some spear work here. We even have an appearance from Liu Kar-leung here as General Yin at the start of the movie. Lieh as, evil Manchu officer official General Chen. Though Liu Kar-leung does get killed very early on after trying to ambush the Manchus with a nice fight involving some swords and an axe of all things. You have to have an axe just for good measure. Master Ho is Liu's teacher. Is all down as he was supporting the rebels again with coming off of the Fong Sayuk. There's always rebels involved, isn't there? And Manchus, and that's always usually the backdrop for a kung fu movie. So, like I say, Gordon Liu's teacher is sort of supporting the rebels. We have Wilson Tong here on the Manchu side as the nasty Lord Tang. So Ho gets Liu and his friends to help him with these secret documents. Like him and his fellow students, they want to help in any way can. They want to support their country. They want to help in any way can. They want to aid the rebels. So he helps them with these. They agree to help with these secret documents that arrive in and aid in the rebels. One of his friends gets caught and kills himself, so they can't torture him. And they are now after Liu, played by Liu Yu, played by Gordon Liu and his teacher. They kill his father too. Him and his remaining buddy decide to go to Shaolin Temple, though, on the way his friend gets captured by Tang. So basically they were just helping some rebels. They basically get ruffled, and he's like, where can I find, they think, right, where can I find sort of safe place, where can I go? And obviously they go to the Shaolin Temple. What I love about this movie is Kar-leung is in no rush to tell his story. This is a film that very much takes its time. It doesn't go any faster than it needs to. As I say, for a kung fu movie to be around a 2-hour length, that's not standard. That is not, especially from this period in the mid 70s to late 70s. It wasn't normal to have. Not saying it wasn't done, but usually the average kung fu movie was anywhere between 80 and 90 minutes. So as I say, he's in no rush to tell his story. He takes his time. So I think that's what works in its favour as well. Gordon Liu gets injured in the leg and can barely walk, but struggles on to the Shaolin Temple. Manages to get there by stowing away on the monks' food cart, and which is a funny scene as all these monks keep wondering why it's so heavy. They're like, why is it heavier than normal? Unaware that he's sort of hiding on the food carts. The monks heal his injuries and watch out for Lieh Hoi-sang here as one of the abbots. And another thing, what I like about this movie is the monks accept him right away. Right, that's why this film is a bit different. None of this turning him away or he's got to prove himself or you're not worthy of training here. They accept him right away. He's in, no problem. He hasn't got to prove himself, just gets accepted into the temple. Also, after he's been there a year, he is like, I came to learn kung fu and all I've done is clean, right? And the abbots there and the fellow monks are like, why didn't you just say so? You only had to ask. And I thought that was a refreshing change when I first saw it, because it's usually the people at the Shaolin Temple don't want to teach, or you have to really sort of go through sort of arduous process to get into the temple. Here they're like, yeah, come in. Well, you only had to say if you wanted to learn kung fu, which was a bit different. And it's like I say, you only had to say. So to begin his training, he gets told of the 35 chambers, and naturally being the hothead that he is, he says, I will just start the ultimate chamber. And he doesn't do too well here, of course, and this abbot sort of sends him flying without even sort of touching him. The chamber being where the students, sort of the most advanced students go there. So the first chamber he comes across, the 35th chamber, teaches balance, where the students have to cross these logs that are floating on water to get to the dinner hall. So naturally he falls in, and all the food has gone by the time he enters, and he's made to clean all the bowls and the chopsticks, and he starts to practice on the ground by rolling some buckets along and trying to balance on them. And he's able to fly. Once he can master that, he's able to fly across the water and completely do it with ease, because they have to cross it. It's just this small sort of little pool of water, and they just got to quickly hop across. And like I say, by the time he does it, all the food's gone, but he practices on these buckets, and then he's able to get across with ease. I mean, with this film as well, when you talk about classic kung fu actors, kung fu performers, that thing, you have to give a lot of credit to Gordon Liu here, because he really does carry the film. He really completely holds and carries the film amazingly well. He carries it completely, and he just to say it's a really, why he is, like many people say, is one of the one of the all-time great kung fu stars, and look no further than this film here. So one day the logs aren't together and no one can cross, not just Lieh but like everyone, so he can't sleep, as determined as he is, and after trying over and over again he manages to conquer the logs. So the next chamber focuses on arm strength and involves the monks carrying buckets of water. This one he completely nails, right? He knocks this one out the park right away. He can do this no problem. The next chamber involves heavy weight at the end of a large pole and has to strike a bell with it, but you can only use one arm. Lieh is able to master this one quite quickly too, though the noise of the bell when you're watching this, it does go on a little bit with him clanking this this bell. It may start to get a bit annoying after a little while. So after doing so well, he gets told he is able to be in charge of the sutra room. Then we have a chamber where he's to stand between two burning incense sticks and follow the burning flame with his eyes. Then we have head training where the monks they're basically just headbutting like sandbags. That's the the real thought that's gone behind this chamber. You're just headbutting sandbags with his fellow monks. So Lieh is rising through the ranks very well. One of them movies that could probably gone on. This film, like bearing in mind it's like 2 hours, right? This film could have easily gone on much longer. Like, really, this honestly could. Where there's 35 chambers at this point in the movie, yeah, they could have just honestly done. I'd have been quite happy watching this in loads. Like, they could have done all of the chambers and do like a 10-part movie. It would have still been entertaining. If it'd gone on even longer, I say there would have been more chambers, more fun to be had, and it's this. But keeping it at 2 hours, I think, is relatively safe. Also, watch out for Yun Su Chin here. Simon Yun is one of the abbots. If you don't know, that's Yun Wu Ping's, was Yun Wu Ping's real-life father. He makes an appearance here. Lieh does fist, legs and sword training. Then, of course, my favourite, the bow staff. Eventually, he masters all the skills of the 35 chambers, and we see him in his infamous yellow robes, and he's sort of put up to the position of sort of deputy abbot. So Lieh Hoi-sang's character doubts him, and he's like, beat me and you can be in charge of any chamber you like. Though as accomplished as Lieh is, he does actually lose against Lieh Hoi-sang. And Lieh Hoi-sang, if you don't know, is in loads of the Jackie Chans, the Sammo Hungs. He's sort of the monk who Kim Tai-chung fights at the end of Tower of Death, Game of Death 2. Lieh Hoi-sang's in Project A, he's in loads. He's the villain in Magnificent Butcher, loads of films. So he takes him on again and switches to like a spear trident type of weapon, and Santi, his monk name, loses again, Gordon Lieh. He then uses the three-section staff that he made himself. So the three-section staff is his weapon of choice here. Notice as well, for the majority and vast amount of the film, there is no villains as such. Like, okay, you've got Lo Lieh here. Lo Lieh is the villain, Wilson Tong, But for the vast majority of the film, for 2/3 of the film, there's not really a villain around. You're just having a good time in the temple with Gordon Lieh training, and it's such a wonderful place to be going on this journey with him. There's no good guys and bad guys at this point, and for most of the movie, we're just watching a guy do some training. I, for one, like when I take about this film going on even longer, I never wanted to leave this temple. That's why this film's so entertaining, because once you go into that temple and you watch this film, and Gordon Lieh joins the monks and everything, you're there with him. Like, you really do feel like you're there with him. And, I never wanted to leave that temple. And that's why I always enjoy this movie when I see it, because it's a very sort of, there's no sort of plot to follow as such when he's in the temple. You can just sit back, relax, and just enjoy watching some great kung fu training. And it's just a magnificent film because of that. So, as I say, that's what really does work. Santi wants to create like a 36 chamber of the temple, which means teaching kung fu to basically ordinary people, ordinary folk. The abbot sort of lets him leave, but covers it up as sort of punishment. Once outside, he doesn't hang about and takes on sort of Tang right away at the graveyard. Not only that, lets him get stabbed to death too. Like, he hasn't forgotten what's happened, and he just basically goes out and he's ready to wreak vengeance, basically. He may be a monk, but he hasn't forgotten why he joined the temple in the first place. So he goes around recruiting people, where we see him use all the skills that he's learned at Shaolin. He meets Wong Yu's Rice Miller 6, gets to know him as his house backs onto the Manchu's residence. So Lieh just takes on loads of the Manchu's men at night. Great amazing speed and fluidity here from our lead in this fight. One of the generals, played by John Chang, even gets killed by his own men. Of course, General Tien wants the monk's blood for what's happening. And the ending to this film, unfortunately, it is a little bit crushed in at the end. It is a bit, like I say, this could have easily been a two-part movie. This really could have been a two-part movie. Like, you could have had the training, like, first part, and the second part could have been him getting his vengeance. But it's almost like Kar-leung was having such a good time in the temple doing all the training and the scenes like that with Gordon Lieh, that he thought, oh right, we actually had better shoot an ending, we actually had better round this off. So, like I said, General Tien wants the monk's blood, and after they use rice flour, they drop on his men to separate him from Santi, lures him out to this, like, the country, and uses like his 3-section staff of on Lieh's character. And, I mean, you could argue that the film, like I say, is in 3 parts. You got before the temple, at the temple, and after the temple. And it very much seems like a kung fu epic, and could have easily, I think, even benefited from going on for about maybe even just another half hour or so, because it's almost like there's parts of the film missing. It's almost like, hang on, wait, you've wanted a bit more. It's very much kung fu epic. I say why the reason why I say that, why this film could have been longer, it should have been 2 parts, it could have been another half hour, because the end fight is over so damn quick. It's the only thing that sort of dampens the movie. It's not a fight you'll remember. It doesn't go on long enough. It abruptly ends, and it's very sort of like it's just thrown in for an end fight, and it's very, very quick. It just stops so abruptly, and you see the 36th chamber, and then the film just ends. I know a lot of the Shaw brothers, especially like the Kar-leung vehicles, did end quickly, but here more than ever, it's a real quick, snappy ending. Maybe they run out of time or whatever, I don't know. Just the whole last 5 minutes just always felt to me like it was just crammed in, and it could have been a lot more of an epic showdown between Lieh's general and the monk. But aside from that, I mean, take nothing. I'm not taking away anything from this movie, because it really is, as I say, it's a kung fu movie that everybody should check out. Everybody should see this. As I mentioned, it's a classic. Everyone's loves this movie. You've seen it. If you've never seen it, go check it out. I will get round to reviewing the sequels very soon for you all, and it's one of the best Shaolin Temple movies of all time. It just works, and the whole movie just works. But the second one and the third one's very different. The third one's very different because it's not really Gordon Lieh is in it, but it's Ho who takes sort of the main lead. The second one is, I think it's sort of up there with this one, but it's very different. I mean, I think that was, again, real testament to Kar-leung and Gordon Lieh. They didn't just do the same thing again. They didn't do 36 chambers, here we go again, 36 chambers rehash, 36 chambers part 2. They take the aesthetic of what the 36 chambers was and is, and with the second one it's more of a comedy. I do love the second one. I love Return to the 36th Chamber. I'll be reviewing that for you all very, very soon. But if you're a kung fu person, you want to know where to start with kung fu movies, make sure to go and check out 36th Chamber of Shaolin, and by all means make sure to pick up the Arrow Shaw Brothers Volume 2 box set. There's still loads of Shaw Brothers movies they've got released, but it's nice to have them all in like a little bundle like that. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you again soon.
Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory.